Hi, folks. A very good morning to you all. Welcome wherever you are listening from. My name is Kalu Aja. So, welcome to a review of the Nigerian business papers with me. We have a lot to get to today. So, let's just start off right by talking about the floods that are happening. I don't see a lot of it in the papers, but there is a flood happening in the northeast of Nigeria. Major flood. Cameroon has released a lot of water from their dams to release pressure on the dam. So the flood is going to come all the way down from the northeast and it's going to go all the way down to the eastern part of Nigeria. It's already affecting agriculture. Lots of farmland are being completely submerged. What this means is major. If you This means that food prices are going to go up. And as you know, guys, if food prices go up, that means that inflation rate is going to go up, right? This just adds a lot of misery really to the economic picture in Nigeria right now. So it's just a very, very sad one for all those farmers that have been, just getting through Boko Haram issues, insecurity, and now this. This is major. So, just the advice is going to be if you have the means, see if you can go buy perishable food stuff like rice and just store it because food prices are going to go up. That's going to be guaranteed. But just also wait and see any way that you can donate to people that are going to be affected. It's going to be bad, guys. This happened a long time ago. I think it was 3 years or so when we had this floods. It's happening again. So that's just going to be the economic impact of it. Okay, so from that, let's first of all go international. And if you're just waking up and you're looking at the news, you can see that the pound is getting hammered. The pound is losing value big time. What's going on in the UK? Well, the UK released this economic plan and they want to basically eat their cake and have it. So they want to cut taxes because there's a recession. They want to cut taxes so they don't drive away the businesses and they support the businesses, but they want to spend a lot of money. They want to subsidize the energy cost of a lot of British citizens because of the energy driven inflation in the UK. So they are doing two things that are not supposed to happen. They want to spend money but not to raise taxes. So the markets are calling them out and saying this doesn't make any sense. We're going to sell your currency and we're going to buy the dollar. So that's just what it means. People are selling pounds and buying dollars, hence the pound losing value. And the dollar has already been up, it's just getting more. So that's what's going on. The UK would have to respond, I believe, by raising interest rates just to keep more money in the UK. What does that mean for Nigeria? It just means dollars up more, trade's going to get more expensive. Just, I don't want to start the week off with bad news, guys, but that's what's going on, and we have to be aware of it. So, dollars getting pounded. The UK is a big partner for Nigeria, so that's something that we should keep our eyes on, right? But let's get also just talk about the good news that happened. I said it was on Friday. The National Pension Commission released a press release saying that yes, they're going to release the guidelines pretty soon on linking your retirement savings accounts to mortgage lending. So, in essence, what can happen is you can go to a mortgage bank and you can use, I believe it's 25% of your retirement savings account as a down payment with that mortgage bank, right? To get a loan to build a house or to complete a house or whatsoever. They give some guidelines. You have to be in the scheme for about 3 years. So you have to be in the scheme for 3 years. And if you're a self employed person contributing, you have to be in the scheme for about 5 years. But that's great news because that sort of links this long term funding, the Nigerian pension funds, with housing. That's going to create jobs, allow funding to enter the market and allow more middle class folks buy a home, which is nearly impossible because no one has that cash to put down, and also because by buying a home now, it's no one apart from the pension fund savings, no one really has got long term savings. In Nigeria, so not everyone, but it's hard to save in Nigeria. So that's good news that we can use as our good news for today. But let's get to the punch. This is the punch papers, and it's saying Nigeria's economic outlook uncertain. So the World Bank gave a scathing report on Nigeria. This is crazy. I mean, they are talking about this is on their report, state action on business enabling reforms, right? And let me just read this part. I mean, you can go on their website and you can get what World Bank actually wrote. But let me read this particular one for you. This is the quote now, right? And I'm quoting: Nigeria's ability to attract domestic and foreign investment is low and declining compared to its peers. Private sector investment contribution to growth has declined as a consequence of macroeconomic and financial policies that constrain exports and foreign investments. End of quote. That's damning. That's going direct to the point. I mean, what World Bank is saying, if I translate what they are saying Nigeria's policies right now do not support export, nor does it support foreign investment. What policy are they talking about? They are talking about the exchange rate policy of the federal government of Nigeria, which is, should we say, the central bank of Nigeria, because they're the ones that manage the foreign reserves. You know, we've spoken about it many times on this morning show that when you have a strong naira, in quote, you are essentially subsidizing imports and you are restricting remittances. When the central bank says its currency is going to sell to you to get a dollar, it's going to be at 4.35. You should give the central bank 4.35 and they give you a dollar. But if you go to the streets of Lagos, you can get the same dollar for 700. So the central bank is saying they are subsidizing the naira for you. What that means is that exports really doesn't happen, because if you export, say, cashew, you have to sell it and pay to the central bank at 4.35. It doesn't make any sense. You get less. But if you export cashew and you take your dollars and you take it to the streets of Lagos, you get 715. So no one's going to export officially, because they're going to get less if they pay to the central bank. That's why the central bank is saying that the World Bank is saying Nigeria's policies constrain exports and foreign investment. Same thing, if I bring in $1 million into Nigeria to invest, I only get 435 million. Yeah, but if I brought that same million and I sold it on the streets, I get 715 million. You know, you do the maths, which is more, 715 or 435, which would buy me more. Of course, it's 715. So a strong naira, it's not really helping. I get the point. Yes, if we devalue, things are going to be more expensive because we're going to have to pay more. But really, guys, what's the choice? What's the option? The foreign reserves are only 38 billion. You can't support a 435 naira exchange rate with 38 billion forever. Something has to give, you know. The exchange rate is the report card of Nigeria, and we haven't done a good job. That's just the honest truth. So the sooner they devalue and start to work on infrastructure that will boost exports, the better. I'm just saying, you know, we have to call it out as it is, right? So that's the World Bank's report on Nigeria. It is not good, and it is not surprising that it is not good. Let's talk about the revenue, the August revenue. So this is FARC figures, right? And they're saying this is Daily Trust talking about August revenues dropped by 280 billion as the federal state shares 673. So this is talking about, you know, every month the federal government shares funds raised, earned, and taxed to the federation. So federal government takes, states take, and of course local governments take. August is down. No surprises. I mean, we're not exporting crude oil, so August revenues are down, right? We shared about, I don't know if it really figures down, but what was shared was 673. If you break it down, statutory was about 437 billion, VAT about 215 billion, and of course, non-oil revenues were 20 billion. But the fun part of this was when you go down into the report. And with Nigerian papers, they always hide very, very good reports in the story. You want to read the entire story to get the real nugget. The real nugget here is this: the excess crude account in Nigeria. If you don't know what that is, every year Nigeria does a budget and we use a benchmark price. So we could say the benchmark price is, for instance, $50 a barrel. If oil goes to $100 per barrel, we only use $50 a barrel into the budget. the extra 50 in excess of the benchmark price goes to an account called excess crude account. So the excess crude account shows you the balance of what was budgeted and the actual, right? This is a fund that has held billions in the past, and it should hold billions right now because crude oil prices, right, are where triple digits a few months ago. Now they're about 80, but 80 is still higher than the benchmark price. Do you know how much Nigeria has in our excess crude account as at the 23rd day of September 2022? The figure, guys, is 470,599. That's 470,599. This is less than what Burna Boy makes when he goes for just one concert. This is Nigeria, the largest crude oil exporter in Africa. $470,000. Unbelievable. I mean, there's nothing else to say, right? But also something I saw here. If you look at the way it's broken down, i.e., how the revenues are broken down, VAT and import and export duties went up significantly. What went down? Corporate income taxes, petroleum profit taxes, and oil and gas royalties. They went down. So, what can you tell from this? VAT and import duties going up is telling you that Nigerians are importing more. So when you import more, you pay more duty at the ports. You also pay more VAT when you buy those goods in the market, right? So that's why VAT and import duties have gone up significantly. But look at corporate and companies' income tax. It's gone down. Where do we get companies' income tax for? This is companies resident in Nigeria. So the tax revenues have gone down. Why? Because they are closing. There's no power, there's no raw materials, there's insecurity. So many companies are shutting down. Hence, the company's income tax is falling. Same thing with the petroleum profits tax and the oil and gas royalties. They are also down. Why are they down? Because we are not exporting crude oil, thus we're not earning enough revenues from crude oil theft. Oil is being stolen. That's a story we've been talking about here. Onshore oil is being stolen. Not just little oil, a lot of oil. And even when it's not stolen, it's shut in because we can't pump it out. And it's now reflected in our tax revenues. We're not getting anything from tax revenues, from petroleum profit tax, and from gas royalties. That's really not good. So the numbers will never lie. Whatever we do, it shows up in the numbers. And this is not good news for Nigeria, right? Because oil prices are falling because a recession is happening in the world. And when there's a recession, then there is less purchase of goods and services, including oil from Nigeria. It is very, very possible that crude oil can get to 70 or even $65. Then what do we do? Do we keep on paying subsidy? Okay, let's get to the next story. This is from Premium Times. It's saying the Ethiopian Airlines emerges core investor in Nigerian Air with 49% shareholding. So this is a story that I'm a bit mixed over. It says here that the Ethiopian Airlines owns 49%, the Nigerian government owns 5%, as the federal government, then a consortium of investors made up of NACO and MRS. Here it says the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority, but we now know that the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority is not a shareholder in this Air Nigeria project. They are not a shareholder. So who are the Nigerian shareholders? We're yet to be told that. That's the material information that we should know. The one thing I'll say about this Ethiopian airline deal is this. Why is it really clouded in so much should we say, I don't know what secrecy, but where is the information? If you were going to do this, you've already failed in your first attempt to launch Air Nigeria. So you know that once you say you're going to launch this new one, everyone's going to ask questions. I expected this should be put online. You can go in, do an FAQ, frequently asked questions. People can read everything they want about this deal. Who are the investors? What are they paying? What are we giving them? What do we gain from this? What is the plan? This should be online for people to go and read. If you don't put it online, what happens is that people start rumors. Then people start to take positions based on faulty information, and you cannot blame them. Already, you said the Nigerian Sovereign Wealth Fund was an investor. Then you walked it back and said they are not an investor. So, who is then the local investors? We know of two, MRS and SACO. So, who replaces? If you say it was an error, who did you want to quote apart from the NSIA? So already it's looking K-leggish. Those planes will come. It's not hard to get planes and lease them and paint them Air Nigeria and call them national carrier. We want to know more. Is Ethiopian Airlines going to use our call signs to go to Dubai and China? Is that what's going to happen? What about Air Peace? Why wasn't Air Peace, brought into this deal? I'm just saying, guys. I'm just saying kudos to Air Ethiopia. They've worked for it. They are the best in Africa. It just tells you really that Nigeria really can't run an airline. Man, I will have to go to Ethiopia. I mean, I'm not hitting Ethiopia, but kudos to them. But we should have been able to get this done ourselves, right? But hey, it is what it is. So my call is put the information out there so people don't start to carry rumors and you blame people. If you're going to a deal to brand something Nigeria with a foreign airlines, then the information should be there out there for everyone to see. All right, guys. The last story is on this NNPC deal. NNPC subsidy is now 2.6 trillion. Just so you understand what is going on. The way it works is this: when you pay subsidy is paid by the NNPC. It's a charge on FAC. What that means is when the government gets its revenues, it will say we've gotten 10 million, right? Then whatever is a charge for subsidy will be deducted. So NNPC is supposed to come in and contribute, but in this case, they are not contributing. So we have zero contributions from NNPC for 8 months of 2022. Those 8 months, the total is now 2.6 trillion. I say again, 2.6 trillion. That's now the total of what NNPC hasn't contributed. I mean, come on, guys. How can a nation subsidize imported PMS but can't subsidize imported food? I don't get the thinking behind this thing. Why is Nigeria still paying 2.6 trillion when the World Bank is telling you you have no capacity to attract foreign investment? You say if we don't pay, fuel price will go up. What's fuel price today? Is it down? Is it down? Is there no way you're telling me we can use this cost of fuel? Of course there is. There are many ways to do it. You can pay the subsidy at the pump. You don't have to pay the subsidy at the ports. You have a BVN, you have NIN, link it to the car, not to the car. Go to the Nigerian pump, buy your fuel with e-naira, pay there. There is no stealing of the subsidy with e-naira because it's all linked to your NIN phone. This would mean that folks in the Cameroons, in Togo, in Niger cannot get Nigerian fuel, imported fuel. Then the volume of import will fall. This is not me saying. The customs boss in Nigeria has already said that this subsidy regime is fraudulent, that the NNPC is paying for over supply. What we're paying for is being exported out of Nigeria, yet we're paying. This is why I say Nigeria's problem is not revenues, it's spending. This is exhibit number one, 2.6 trillion. This is the highest expenditure in Nigeria's history as at 2022 for this budget year. It doesn't even show up in the budget. It's off balance sheet. So Nigeria's biggest expense is subsidy. It's not even on our budget. We can do better, guys. All right, guys, those are the headlines I have. I give you guys one good news story there. I got James. James, hi, how you doing? You want to say something? I got James and I got Ali Concern. I got a cake here as well. Hey, James, if you want to unmute and speak, or I'm going to move over to Mr. Ali Concern. Okay, Mr. Ali, how you doing?
No, it's obvious that we have not had better managers of our economy. I've always said that the economic team has not lived up to, especially in this administration, the economic team has not lived up to the bidding. The idea, or as you said, that Nigeria is not suffering from revenue generation with this problem of spending. I've always said that if, at the hindsight, if we've worked on this refinery, if all the promises they made about working on the refinery for some years now, it doesn't take rocket science to build a refinery. We all know the defunct Biafra um, extracted oil. Um, were able to refine their oil they used in defunct Biafra. So it's not a rocket science. It's something that can be done. Even the vice president in some years back was talking about
No,
modular
James,
refinery. I thought by
James,
now,
sorry to
yeah,
interrupt you.
I
Your
hear you.
Yeah, your audio is very, very bad, James. I don't know if you can change position or so, but your
Okay, okay. Uh, where did you stop hearing me?
I could hear everything just a
Let me, yeah.
but go ahead.
Where did you stop hearing me?
Let me get
Hello?
Ali concern. Ali, hi. Go ahead and unmute, sir.
Carlo, good morning.
How you doing? Good morning.
Since we are talking about numbers,
Mm-hmm.
if you see some of the numbers that came out sometimes last week, we saw the number of students that were given admissions abroad.
Oh, crazy.
That last year it was about 20 something thousand.
Mm,
This year it's gone to 65,000.
mm, mm,
And
mm,
I tried punching the numbers, saying that if CBN is subsidizing dollar for those studying abroad
mm,
at 435
mm,
and dollar in the black market is 700, the
mm,
difference it's about 265.
mm,
By the time you multiply this 265 by this 65,000 and you now multiply it, it has gone into billions of naira. So the question now is this: most people that go outside the country to school, eventually when they finish, they remain there. They get a job there and they begin to add value to that system. I can tell you that less than 10 or 20% of them come back to this Nigerian that have subsidized their fees to add value to us. So why don't we have a rethink and allow people who have the means to go abroad for further their education to pay up without subsidizing it and fund the local universities so that it will even encourage some of those people going out to stay. If you point the numbers, my brother, it's
but your point, you are saying it as if we disagree with you. I don't think anybody disagrees with you, number one. I think this is people that are going abroad are getting their money from CBN and the black market. Because you can't go to CBN and say, I want to school abroad, and they will give you all your tuition. So you have to get small PA, you get PA, you go and buy. But it's all dollars. You are spending naira to the school is on. So even if you have money to pay, it's on strike. It's a big That's wahala.
yes, ASU is on strike because of funding of the university.
Yeah.
My take is the minimum you can get is 30,000.
But I'm
$30,000.
yeah,
If you
but
do that numbers by 30,000, it's already way, way, way out
yeah.
of this world. So that funds alone, let them stop it.
Who should stop it?
All of us, let them stop it.
Who is
Let
who?
them fund.
Who is who?
Sorry,
Who is who?
central bank, federal government.
It
Let them come up with a policy.
how will they how? It's black market money. They're not sending you money. People go and buy dollar on the street to go abroad.
No. I'm talking about people who does school fees payment through CBN. They get it at official rate 435, and
All
they
right.
get up to
Well,
$30,000 per every year.
I hear you.
Multiply those numbers out.
well.
Ali,
Thank you.
Ali,
I want to chip in.
I'm sorry, Ali.
hold on, hold on.
You're not correct actually, because they don't get it from the CBN. They get it what you call it, from the market.
No.
They
You need to understand what I'm saying. They get it from
Ali,
CBN.
Ali, they don't get everything from CBN. I hear you.
No,
You
I'm saying they get minimum 30,000. I'm
Yes.
not saying everything. 30,000.
Okay.
That 30,000, multiply it out by the difference of 435 and see the numbers you are getting.
All
Let
right.
them go to black market and get it.
It's not going to
Okay.
change. That's
If
possible.
I chip.
But let's get someone else to speak. Let me get
Okay.
um, Abdul Hafiz. Abdul Hafiz, go for it.
Okay. So we was talking about the the subsidization of the dollar rate that they are giving to people schooling abroad. But we seem to have forgotten that people that are going to school abroad, there are reasons for them going there to school abroad. So, and we need to subject these things to people's personal opinions. Why am I abroad? So that should be the question. So I don't think people should actually want to like come back. I don't think it's in anybody's plan. Those people that are going abroad, like I want to go, I want to come back, or but it just depends. If the person has an opportunity here and he sees that it is okay enough, then he comes back. But I
Okay.
think majority of Nigerians have this Japa mentality. So and
Okay.
it's not their fault. It's
I
not
hear.
their fault, bro. It's not their fault. So if they choose not to come back, I don't think it's anybody's fault. You
I
just
don't.
look at our people that want to work in our to work in people that have interest in academia now, for instance. You can't tell me that go to school in abroad and they will want to come back here and work and be facing strikes in the middle of their career. So I
So
think
what's
we should
Nigerians'
subject.
interest there?
Okay, hold on, guys. Let get socialists. Socialists, go ahead. Because
Oh yeah. No, thank you very much, Kalu. I truly appreciate your spaces. I was more interested in the whole aviation news that you were talking about. Do you think it's really a good investment for the country to have what's the name only 49%, right? Oh, do we actually have 49%, or is it 5% that the government is actually investing
five. So the
in
five
Nigeria? Yeah. It's
federal.
5%, right?
Yeah. Then the
So
other
I
one.
mean,
I'm not.
is it an economically viable project?
Yeah. I
Because I
want.
know running in aviation and what you call it, because I am in the industry, it's very, very hectic, especially at this particular time. It's going through difficult times. So I'm not sure how economically viable it is for the country in general.
I.
Especially, I'm not really sure if we need a national carrier at this
We don't.
particular point
Socialists.
in time.
Let me get the wording right. So I don't think Nigeria needs a national carrier. I think you can just get Air Peace and change their name to Air Nigeria and give them cheap funds from CBN to buy new planes, and boom, you have your national carrier. But I don't know why we're doing this, and I really can't comment till I see the actual contract to see what we're getting. But if you're going to give Ethiopia your codes to fly around the world with Nigerian codes, then you have to question the thinking. Why can't you just get Air Peace, give them Aeros planes, remove the debt, give them all the planes that you've seized from Amcon, give it to Air Peace to buy over 25 years or something, give them one long-term loan, then label them Air Nigeria, just change the name to Air Nigeria, that's the deal. Boom, you have a carrier. But I don't know, man. I'm the expert. Olumide, hi, jump in here. Maybe you have some more news for us.
Yeah, thanks, Carl. Pleasure joining. I just wanted to comment on the Naira subsidy, and I think we need to realize that that is really burning the economy. In fact, it's creating a black hole. If you
Yeah,
look at the numbers right now, you see that the true value of the Naira, the official rate, is really why we have that disparity in the black market. And also the fact that the cost of subsidy is really weighing on many factors. Now, you look at a report from FTC, that's the firm owned by Bismarck Rwani. He said that just subsidize devaluing the naira just by 40 naira on the official rate would definitely save the CBN 600 billion naira, and also would really reduce the parabolics we are seeing in the market. If you look at what is happening in the British pound, the Japanese yen, you see that the currency year to date has really devalued by more than 50 to
yeah.
20%. And that's pretty much because the American economy is pretty much in a better shape than other currencies. So I think it comes to the reality that we want better exports and we want stronger currencies. with subsidized, it doesn't work. The economics, and so I'm so surprised that Nigerians are coming for people, but because they have excuses to want to go abroad. I don't think if you want to go abroad, you have to fund it yourself. Market-driven rates, it's not going to work. You cannot subsidize the fuel. We have less than 1 million Nigerians, 1.7 million Nigerians abroad, but we have about 210 million Nigerians waiting at home. So are you saying that those that can afford to travel, we should not subsidize, we should keep subsidizing people outside? These are not viable. Economics work for everyone, not for few. Thank you.
I agree. I mean, in the end, fix Nigerian universities so everyone doesn't have to go abroad. That's just my take. But everyone can go abroad. Hey, Gospel or Oga Pharmacist, what's up?
Yeah, I'm great. Thank you, Carlo, for these very interesting conversations you host every morning. First things, I see your tweet about folks trying to get in non-perishable items because of the flooding and everything. I think it's a very, very important advice. But my question, as I used to ask you, even though it's funny and actually rhetorical, is who doesn't want Nigeria to move forward? Who wants Nigeria to fail exactly? Who are these guys that want this country to fail? I already know the answers to the question, really. Because I keep asking, I mean, sometimes I even try to, when I see your tweets, I just skip them because if I think about them, it's probably going to make me mad. Clearly, we are having crude selling at more prices than we budgeted for, meaning that we should have excess crude. And like you asked, where is the money? Why is nobody talking about the excess? Why is our excess crude the numbers we are seeing? Then the second point, and this puzzles me a lot. Crude is selling at a very high amount. Crude is the major foreign FX earner for us. And ordinarily, I mean, commonsensically, if you have a product that you know that you bring to the market and you have a high time, a time where it is selling for high amount, you should be doing everything possible to ensure that you get as much quantity allowable into the market so you can make as much resources from it. We're a poor country, we're in debt. Why exactly is Nigeria not meeting up with this quota, rather, so that we can make as much effects for ourselves now that the crude is more than $100? I mean, I think about it and it makes me mad, my brother. It's crazy. That's my rant for this morning. Thank you.
It's been stolen, bro. It's been stolen. That's it. Let me get Daniel in here. Hey, Daniel Whaley, what's up?
Yeah. Good morning, Mr. Kalu. Good morning, everybody. Yes, I'm fine. First, I want to comment on the national carrier. You know that I checked British Airways. British Airways is fully privately owned, and it's still it's still their carrier. But what I know about the airline industry, it is driven by very high expertise, low margins, and it's not something the government should bother ourselves with too much, especially when we are complaining about spending. But one thing that I see that I can draw from it is the fact that the Ethiopian airline that appears to be the major shareholder is the best in Africa. So they have the expertise, and that also shows confidence in the industry. And that the government is just has about 5% in it also just shows that we don't want to expose ourselves, too much to an industry that is, of course, in quotes, high risk and needs high expertise to run. That is number one. Then number two, you mentioned the fact that our VAT has gone up, import duties has also gone up. Of course, that means we are importing more. But if you check the report from MPS, for June, we had a trade surplus. Our exports, was far higher than our import. So I just wanted to speak on that. Just to just speak on that. Thank you.
We did that a few weeks ago. We said the trade surplus was based on an Dangote exporting urea fertilizers. That's what boosted our trade surplus. Just that one item. It's a new item. Dangote came in, exports to Brazil and the US. So it's gone up. If you compare the trade surplus quarter to quarter, it was anemic. The growth was really not much. When you compare that surplus year to year, that's when you get the 3.5. That was not a very, very good trade report. If you can go back to my analysis on it, it was very, very weak. So let's not celebrate that per se. It's still oil export. We should be looking at maybe non-oil export really to really have a real boost there. Yeah, I don't know if that helps out. All right.
Okay, yeah. Okay, sorry. Let me just, I am not saying we should celebrate. I'm not saying we are there yet, but I'm saying that we are having, we started having the trade surplus, and the fact that Dangote, of course, Dangote contributed to that. It's not as if it's going to stop exporting. So what I'm saying is that are we not on the right pathway, with
Doing
that,
a daily,
considering the fact that we really have deficits, all the while. Thank you.
I'm doing a daily newspaper report. So if the trade surplus comes up, I read it out. So right now, I'm reading out what came on. Yeah, I get where you're going with this, but I'm just reading out what I see on the newspapers, right? And the point again is this: the foreign reserves are 38 billion. The CBN says they have no dollars. There's no dollar again. So if we're exporting, we should see dollars flowing in. But the NNPC is not even remitting a kobo to the Federation. So in the end, we can quote the stats, but cash does not lie. If there's no cash in our foreign reserves, we have to do more. That's just my take. Thanks, man. Let me get that.
Sorry, Carlo. I'm sorry, Carlo, Mr. Carlo. Good morning. I want to have a question for Mr. Daniel because it does appear he from his submissions he supports
No.
the national carrier. I have a question for him.
He has a right to
Ask me.
say anything he wants to say.
Yes, no, he does. He does. I also have a right to ask him a question, so he give us some more, clarity on the point he's made. If you permit me.
Go ahead. If he doesn't
Thank
answer,
you.
you can ask him to answer.
Okay, it's okay. You seem, Mr. Daniel. Good morning. You be excited that
Go to the
Ethiopia Airways has a majority share in the national carrier, that is Air Nigeria. Do you think that is a very good, very wonderful policy decision on the part of the federal
they're the
government?
best in Africa, Mr. Jost. They're the best in Africa. So I agree with
Of course, they are the best in Africa. But we have our local airlines that have been,
your question is,
doing well.
if that's your question, I support them going with Air Nigeria, Air Ethiopia. They're the best in Africa. We need a technical partner. They're Africans. I don't mind them doing that. I don't like it, but I don't mind.
Does it support the spirit of local content?
We
No,
can't.
if you don't have expertise in something, you don't
Yeah,
have it. If somebody's better than you at something, the person can do.
Ethiopia, see what they had in Ethiopia and the airport and their repair yards. I mean, they're the only ones flying Boeing 800. So they are better than us in that aspect. Let's leave it to them.
But is there anything we can say about our nationality? Would there be time when we have conflict where the national carrier, in terms of employment and in terms of our people getting employed in that particular company, now that it's not a Nigerian or Nigerian having a greater share there, out of returns, wouldn't they be doing a diaspora return from whatever they get from the airways back to Ethiopia? So these are the things we are looking at.
Exactly my
Are we not
point.
trading away?
My point.
Are we not trading away some vital economic benefit that we would have made owning this a greater share and decision making?
Guys, let's understand the situation, right? We don't have an airline. That's a fact, and we need we say we need a carrier. I don't think we do, but if we do need a carrier, this guy, there's nothing wrong with Ethiopia. The point I've made in the presentation was that we need to see the contract. What is Ethiopia getting? Are they going to use our codes now to fly to Dubai, to China, to America? That's what we need to see. I've asked for the contract. We can't comment till we see those contingent liabilities, revenue sharing. When we see that, trust me, we'll bring it back here and we talk. But for now, we're just going to be saying, oh, are they doing this? Are they doing that? That's also my take on that, if you guys don't mind.
But Carlo, my biggest challenge is this. When we are talking about 5%, over 49%, what do you think we stand to benefit? It's about ego trip. It's like the government is desperate to see that the Air Nigeria project they have succeed. When they have looked around and they didn't get the investor here in Nigeria, and they're seeding out our economy. I think it is not a very good investment.
Let us check British Airways. I gave an example of British Airways. British Airways is fully privately owned.
It's owned by the Spanish, not the
By a
British.
British person, by a British
Owned
person,
by
by Britain.
But it's privately owned.
It's
Yeah.
not
That
owned by
is the
Even if it's
what was
privately owned, it's by a Briton, not
no
a foreigner.
what's his
That's
name?
the point.
What's the Britain's name?
Google it. It's a
What's the
Briton, not
Britain's name?
a
It's
foreigner.
Spanish now. It's Spanish.
It's a Spanish company.
It's a Spanish
But that's
company.
the point, guys. Let's move on. Let me get Jalil in here. Jalil, hi, Jalil's dad. What's up with you?
Hi, Carlo. Good morning. Thank you for this space. I think most of what I've said have already been occurred by other speakers, but I would like to say that it's unfair for us to microzone the issue of FX scarcity to students just going out. I can tell you for free that I'm a research student. I've applied for Form A since
You are the economic saboteur.
I've applied for Form 8 since March and I've not gotten it. So every of my school fees has been paid by sourcing from the black market. However, I want to say that the issues with Nigeria are the functions of two things. One is a path-dependent system where we have behavioral tendencies that have been locked in from time immemorial. Therefore, we are unable to move beyond that path dependence. We're still doing things in 2022 that we were thinking about doing in 1960, 1970, 1980. Lastly, is the fact that people profit from the dysfunctionality of the Nigerian process. So as long as things continue to get bad, you've profiled solutions, dear Carlo, and these solutions are not lost on those in these governance structures. I mean, things like trying to automate the systems. It's not lost on them, but they won't do it. And again, thank you for this space. Thank you for bringing this awareness to everyday citizens like us. I do appreciate.
You're welcome. And guys, just so you know, the forex in Nigeria is remittances, not from trade. There's about 25 billion floating via remittances. That's what people are buying to go to school abroad. So Emeka sends money home, Deji buys dollars and sends goes back to UK. It's remittances. The CBN has no dollars. There's dollars in Nigeria, but it's not in CBN. If we could make that point clearly. Who hasn't spoken? Jesus. Let me just make sure I have everyone. Jesus, sorry about that. Okay, so I'm just adding Akin. Sorry about that. I think I must have overlooked you guys. Yeah, guys, we have to shut down. This is just supposed to be like a 15 or so minutes. Thank you guys all for. Thank you. What's his name? Deepo, speak. Go for it, sir. Hey, Deepo, what's up?
Yeah, good morning, Carlo. It's good to be here. And it's a fantastic topic. And, so early in the morning and all that, it's very cold right here where I am. And I just want to say that, you see, I think we have a citizenry problem in Nigeria, apart from the fact that our leaders, are also, not doing enough. But the bane of the whole problem here right now that I think are the citizens. We take advantage of every situation to extort and make life difficult for ourselves. Let me be honest with you. It's a fact. Because
Bro,
yes, just sorry. Just
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Guys, we're going to shut down real quick. Let me just get who. Mr. Just, was that your
Can you hear
comment?
me?
I know you.
Hello?
Yeah, but your audio was very, very bad. Could you get
Okay.
to the point, please, sir?
Okay,
Get to the
yes.
point, please.
Yes. So what I'm trying to say is the citizens have, make the process to be more difficult. The banks have made it, such that if you don't scratch their back, you probably wouldn't have, some of this forex. You would have this. I was going to Doha 2 weeks ago, and I booked for PTA, and
Yeah, your audio is bad. Your audio is real bad, brother. If you don't mind. Sorry, cut you off, Red.
there are not much availability of a forex, but even the little that is being provided.
Okay, guys. Mr. Josh, just to make sure, did you want to say anything? No, that was your contribution. But I know you hopped in when Daniel. You okay?
Yeah. Well, I thank you once again. the bottom line in the whole, stories that have come up this morning is that Nigeria is badly run.
That I agree with.
Yeah, badly run. The
Yeah,
governmental policies are not well thought out. The issues that come up, if properly analyzed, show that they are mere, a construct aimed at bettering the lives of our allies and keeping the mass of the population, at in squalor where they have always been. Look at the numbers that come out with respect to, subsidizing forex for foreign students. When if we strengthen our institutions, our tertiary institutions, and make education more qualitative and more accessible for from our Nigerian universities. That will be another way of earning even forex, because foreign students quite naturally we have, in the past, when students from Ghana and other West African countries
mind,
were,
sir.
com- were, were coming to Nigeria, for their tertiary education. If, like what we have now, Nigerians trooping to Ghana and other South Africa and other, African countries to get higher education. If our institutions are working effectively, the reverse will be the case, and that will be a means of earning, forex
I
for
agree.
us. But we won't do that. We won't do that. We would rather, open an avenue where some crooks in the CBN will say they are subsidized. Nobody accounts for the amount of dollar they subsidize, and that is an easy avenue for them to making, cash cow. Can you imagine if you have a relation who is in the CBN and he gives you $1 million at official rate, and you hop into the black market and give it one BDC person and make your quick naira? Just compute the amount
Yeah,
of money you're making.
I hear
Over
you.
260
I
million
hear
naira.
you.
Over 260 million naira in just one
Okay.
transaction.
So,
Those are the openings. Those are the openings they want to sustain,
gotcha.
because it is self-enriching for them.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging in there. We've got to shut the space down. It's just we just do the newspaper, then we'll just take a few calls. So thank you all for speaking. I mean, the main story I would like to just point again is to the World Bank's comments on Nigeria. Remember the point. We are running an economy that can easily be fixed. I tweeted this a long time ago. You don't need a lot to fix Nigeria's economy. 90 days is a long time to fix the economy. You need 1, 2, 3 policies, the economy will fix itself. The World Bank has said exactly what I've said. You are doing capital controls, you are subsidizing imports by having a strong naira. Hence, no one is investing and no one is exporting. If you fix that, you fix 80% of the problems in Nigeria. So these are easy, quick fixes.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
go ahead and fix it, guys. It's not hard. Devalue a bit, fix infrastructure, get exports out there, right? And then the economy starts to get better. Reduce this money you are using to spend on fuel subsidy, take it and import food, crash inflation, then do medium term fixed power so companies can start to work and employ people. These are not hard things. You can have a 6 month program, 12-month program, 24-month program. It's not difficult. There's nothing hard in this. All right, guys, let me let you guys go. Enjoy the rest of your week. You guys to go out and have a great time. Make all that money. And we'll see you guys here tomorrow if we get news. Otherwise, you guys have fun, right? Have a good day and bye. My name is Kalu Aja. Thank you.